That violence erupting in Portland, Oregon, as left-wing activists marked 1 year since George Floyd's murder with attacks on police and acts of vandalism. Authorities say the Black Lives Matter protesters didn't only launch fireworks, they also hurled frozen bottles at officers and torched dumpsters. A crowd of 200 even gathered outside the city's Justice Center shouting, "Burn it down." It wasn't long before police declared the situation a riot in a scene reminiscent of what the city went through last year with more than 100 consecutive nights of violent protests. The New York Post cover calling it a hell of a tribute to George Floyd. Tomi, I'd like to start with you on this. So as I just outlined, Portland has endured 100 straight days during the last year of destruction and violence, burning again last night, as City Council diverts funds from the police department to community policing to park rangers. Meanwhile, officers are assaulted nightly. Minority-owned businesses are disproportionately shut down, and this dumpster fire is occurring throughout the country. A lot accomplished in the last year in the way of social justice, huh?
Well, that's what happens when you pass off these acts of lawless thuggery as justice, because that's what's been happening in our country for the last year and a half or more. In fact, probably the last 5 years, but specifically in the last year, definitely after the death of George Floyd. But these groups have never been interested in justice. The BLM organization, the Antifa organization, they have never been interested in civil rights or justice or really focusing on their true activism or message. Black Lives Matter, the organization, only cares about black lives when they can use them for political gain, when they can use them for profit, or they can use them as an excuse and a pass to destroy their communities, to loot, to steal, to riot. And to these officers that are out there on a daily basis protecting and defending these communities, I give them a huge congratulations and a huge hats off, because I don't know many Americans that could do that. But it's getting to the point where if the Biden administration is not going to step in like the Trump administration did, send federal agents, send the National Guard to quell this mayhem, I would say to those officers, go home, let the city burn. If this is what these liberals and these liberal cities want, then let them see what it looks like when they no longer have the protection and the defense of those men and women in blue.
Boy,
and Harris, we covered on this show just moments after gunfire erupted at George Floyd Square in Minneapolis, just moments before a festival of celebration of the community, a remembrance of his life, was set to take place. The violence is spiking, has been spiking for the last year, and there is no sign of stopping.
So I want to pick up on something that Tomi was just talking about. And I'm going to take it in two directions. One, how disappointing is it that you don't back up your employees? These aren't just cops. They're city employees. They actually work for the very people who are trying in some places to defund them, which makes no sense. That's like your boss saying, I expect you to do your job better and I'm going to give you half your pay. So you see them in a dangerous situation like that. Why don't you yourself as city leaders pick up the phone and say, I need help. I'm going to need you to send some resources in. Now, some cities are forced to do that, but we don't have a president who's going to do that anymore. This is not former President Trump, who sent in federal and state authorities to go help out Kansas City last year when it was, rioting beyond control. And by the way, the mayor of that city, Quentin Lucas, didn't even find out until he saw it on Twitter. You don't have that kind of president right now. So now you have the kind of president that it's going to take your activity as leadership to speak out on behalf of your employees to keep them safe from your citizens.
Kaylee, Harris and Tomi mentioned the prior administration, the federal tools utilized by President Trump to essentially punish the mayors or at least protect the community, as these derelict mayors were refusing to manage the violence, to step up and condemn it and protect their communities. And now, as they've pointed out, this administration has done anything but.
That's right. Harris picked up on a very important point, and that is what the Trump administration did in response to this violence. I was in the White House as Portland burned for 100 days last summer. And in order to quell the violence, a mayor or local jurisdiction requests the National Guard. But what did Mayor Ted Wheeler do? He didn't do that. Instead, he marched with protesters, extolled how peaceful and wonderful it was, said that it was paramilitary forces because President Trump was able to send federal authorities to protect the federal courthouse, but he called them paramilitary forces before 73 days later doing an about face and saying this: if you try to burn down an officer in a federal building where you have trapped him, that is attempted murder. Quite a turn of events for the mayor of Portland, leading President Trump, by the way, when he's rejecting the National Guard, to say you are what we call an anarchist jurisdiction. You don't deserve federal funds if you're not protecting your citizens. And what did Joe Biden do? President Biden, when he came in, he ripped that up and said no more anarchist jurisdictions. Protesters, have at it.